Hi, I'm Tim Norton, 2nd District County Commissioner, and welcome to A Word in Edgewise. Haven't been here in a couple of months, but I'm glad to be here because we've got a sea change going on at the county. After 24 years, Bill Buchanan has retired, and I'm very proud to welcome our new county manager, and I'm only calling him this once, General Mike Scholes, and that'll be the last time, General, that I'm going to call you that. From now on, you're county manager or Mr. Manager, Mike Scholes, and welcome to Wichita and Sedgwick County.
It's great to be here. I feel like the last 2 months went by really slow, but just had so much to do. Had to pack out of D.C. to get here, but man, it's great to be here. The family's already entrenched and kids are in school and the house is somewhat settled, so it feels great to be at work.
And you've already been to a Shocker game.
I have. I went to a Shocker game, and I wasn't expecting a 40-point romp. I don't think I've ever been at a basketball game where they just totally took it to the opponent like that. But I look forward to going to a lot more.
Well, we're pretty proud of our Shockers and proud of our community, and we're glad that you're here to help us take our community to the next level. I'm going to start out a little bit today just to give you a chance to kind of introduce yourself and tell a little bit about your family background, where you grew up, and the family you've brought here with you to Sedgwick County.
Well, I'm coming here after a 32-year and 9-month career in the military. I was born into a military family. My father's a retired 2-star general, Ranger Hall of Fame, 4 combat tour, Ranger Special Forces guy that probably taught me most about leadership, just following him around. But we've lived all over the U.S. When I joined the military, I was 17 in high school, and he marched me down to the local National Guard Armory right outside Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and I joined, and I've been in ever since. I came on active duty in 1988, first assignment, 82nd Airborne Division, and it seems like yesterday, but it's hard to believe that after 33 years that I'm here. But I'm excited to be here and ready to get to work.
Okay, and in tow you had Jessica, your wife, and some kids.
Yeah, Jessica. I have 2 kids at home. I have 5 total, but I have a 9 and 13-year-old at home. A 9-year-old boy, Nathaniel. We call him Nate, and then Reagan, our 13-year-old. And then at the end of December, my oldest son, 25-year-old Michael Jr., will come here from Georgia. He'll be getting out of the military after 2 tours, one in Iraq and Afghanistan. But he's ready to get out of the military and work here in Sedgwick County, and I'm excited for him to be here. One of the goals for me to get out of the military right now was to concentrate more on the family, to be kind of situated between Colorado, where my oldest daughter lives with her husband and family, and my parents who live in Franklin, Tennessee. So this was a perfect place for me. But with him coming here, we're almost starting to consolidate, which is great because, again, after growing up in a military family and being spread out with my sisters in different parts of the U.S., it's great to kind of be in one place and establish some roots, which I just really haven't had since I was born. So to choose Wichita and Sedgwick County as that place is exciting for us, and we're excited to be here. And then this job fascinates me. I've always been fascinated with government. I've got 2 graduate degrees in government. The first one I got when I was a captain. And most people don't know at that time, I actually looked to get out. And I put out some feelers back then and was one of the finalists for a city manager's position in Florida, where our home was then. But then just kind of decided to stay in. It was a good, for me it was a good career. I wanted to at least get my 20 years in, and decided to stay in. So it's always been an interest, for me, and this finally, fulfills a dream, and I'm doing it here and excited to be here and roll up my sleeves.
Well, your local government experience comes mostly through education and everything, but you've had some leadership experiences in different kinds of local government around the world. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I've had a unique career. I've been blessed, but because of my interests, I've followed a career that kind of assimilated or was really close to local state government. And it started at Fort Knox at my first, my second duty station after Fort Bragg. And I lived in the community. I became a volunteer firefighter, EMT with that fire department. I lived right next door to it, so the tones would go off. I'd run out the door and hop in. So it started then, and when I moved to Georgia, I had an assignment where I was a trainer for one of the National Guard units there, which, when that was getting near the end and I was heading back to Fort Bragg, they asked me, the CG there asked me to, to stay there and take an active duty position with the Georgia National Guard, and I never knew they had those. So I did. I took it, and so I started a career there where I did a lot with the local and state community because I was a planner for the domestic operations unit there, and I did various things. I was even a commander of a counter-drug task force that supported local, state, federal law enforcement agencies. I was a planner for the G8 Economic Summit for Sea Island, Georgia, for 14 months. I responded to Hurricane Katrina. I helped establish our operations center at Camp Gillis Long during the heart of that disaster. So I got a lot of unique experience that kind of set me on a career path of working with local governments, EMA directors, and state emergency management centers. That set me up for some, when I got senior, set me up for some commands and opportunities that a lot of people don't typically get. One was a Homeland Response Force for FEMA Region 4 for the 8 states of FEMA Region 4, which involved me working with those 8 states, working with their EMAs, developing plans for emergency situations. I was, when I made general officer. It allowed me to really bring a lot of that skill set into a much larger organization, about 9,000, half being civilian, half being military, 31 different nations, a bunch of different agencies associated with those nations that were working to help in the Balkans, to support their government and establishing their government to be a democracy and working towards their goals. So that job as the Chief of Staff of Kosovo Force was a nice way to bundle everything that I had done in my 30-year career and allowed me to use my skill sets and leadership in a organization that put those skill sets to the best use.
Well, all politics is local, all government is local. Where it touches the average citizen, the average taxpayer is in municipalities and county government almost anywhere in the United States.
Absolutely.
I mean, we can talk federal and state government, but where you really touch the people and affect communities is at this level. Well, one of the things, it was interesting as we rode down on the elevator to get here today, we talked a little bit about leadership and what we were going to talk about today, but one thing you said to me is that you don't get your experience out of the laboratory, that kind of that message of management by walking around is very important. Let's talk a little bit about leadership philosophies and how you see your role in Sedgwick County as you start to be boots on the ground.
Well, for me as a leader, I have found that it's all about people. For any strategic plan for an organization, one of the goals is people, and it should be people, because without those, without the personnel, without the relationships that are garnered, from supervisor to subordinate to the lowest levels, without that relationship, you're not going to have an effective organization. So for me, I've always found, I have to take the field trip. I can't learn things in the laboratory. I can't get it out of the test tube. I can't read a book on it and expect to understand it. So I've got to get out. I've got to get out of the office. I've got to go to the different stakeholders inside the county, down to the department level, to the lowest employee that works in the back cubicle that never gets recognized. And I just feel that is so important. I told the directors yesterday that my philosophy is I've got to get out, I've got to learn names, I've got to understand what they do. I want to get more involved in that aspect of it than being stuck behind a desk and reading it in a book. I just can't do it that way. So it's important for me to get out there and see what they do, understand it. That's the only way that I'm going to be able to learn it and be effective as a leader.
Yeah. Well, I know some people that maybe watch county commission meetings on television think of county business as happening maybe an hour and a half on a Wednesday morning, but for the chief administrative officer, it's I'd say a 40-hour week, but it's probably going to be a 7-day, 24-hour-a-day kind of proposition for quite a few months until you learn all the people and all the different structural things in this broad organization. You've already started down that path. I know you've outreached and gone to some things out in the community even.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, that's the best way to do it. Our stakeholders are important. It's all about governance, and governance isn't one person, isn't one organization, especially in a municipality and a county like as large as this county. It's all about governance, and it's those communities, it's those agencies, it's those municipalities, it's all those disparate groups that have vested interest in the governance aspect that helps be an effective community to, not only for the county, but for everybody that's involved in that. We all have to work together, and it's all about those relationships. You've got to build the rapport, and you're not going to do that if you don't talk to the person. So you're going to see a lot of that from me. I'm going to get out. I'm going to go to your office building. I'm going to make an appointment and sit down with you and talk about issues. Whether we decide world peace or not, we're going to at least get to know each other. And there will be those times, I guarantee it, because of that relationship, that we're going to be able to get some things done, even in the most complex, dynamic times. When people aren't getting along, we will.
Yeah. Well, I've always been amazed. Almost every commission meeting, or at least 2 or 3 times a month, we give 30 and 40-year certificates to retirees, which tells us we've got a wealth of experience in our staff, people dedicated to public service, and you can learn so much from talking with people, and they're the experts on the ground. I mean, we can have the philosophical kind of debates at the higher levels, but to get the work done, to really serve the citizens, you got to have some very smart people doing their jobs.
Oh, absolutely. When our public affairs director, came to me with a list of questions, one of them was, what's your favorite quote, in relation to your management style? And I used Ronald Reagan's because it best reflects, kind of my approach to things. It's all about people. It's all about putting the best people in the right place, delegating authority, and then don't interfere. So that's a lot about my management style, but there was a lot of units that I was assigned where you'd go in and have to fix it. This is one of those rare opportunities in organization is that my predecessor did a great job of putting the best people in the right place. There's not a whole lot of that. So I have a leg up. But it's about those people, and you have a lot of smart people out there who are dedicated professionals who just want that opportunity to continue doing what they're doing, and it's about getting out of their way and not interfering, but providing guidance and mentorship for them is what makes an effective leader, I think.
Yeah. Well, I know with all the consternation with the state budget and some of the things coming down from federal, the one thing I know county needs is just that steady hand of somebody that's going to understand what we do and, like you say, empower people to go out and do their work. And that doesn't mean don't inspect what you expect, but it does mean let people find their full capabilities to do their jobs. So, well, it was good having you here today. I just wanted to, we'll do this again in a month or two when you have a little more in-depth, down in the weeds things to talk about. We do have some issues on the table, but now's not the time to try to solve all of those your first week. I mean, this is Friday of your first week, so I don't want to solve that, but I am going to give you the last word. Anything maybe you want to say to the community about your time here and how to connect with you if you need to?
Well, for me, what attracted me to this county and to Wichita were the people. The beauty about the interview process was, I came and brought my family, brought my wife especially, which allowed me, when I wasn't interviewing, to go out and meet the people. And it was the people that drew me here, that gave me the opportunity to make the decision and to get out of the military probably a little early, but it was all about the people. So I look forward to continuing to get out into the community and to meeting the people. And I am accessible, and please feel free. I've already had some citizens that have emailed me, so that's great. I've gone out, I've done a lot of talking and meeting those people, but I did a speech the other day for Veterans Day, which was awesome to be able to have that opportunity, and I look forward to doing more of that. So at any time, please feel free to contact me, and that would be great.
Well, my guest today was County Manager Michael Scholes. We're glad to have him in our community and taking on the Chief Administrative Officer for Sedgwick County. I'm Tim Norton, 2nd District County Commissioner. Thanks for joining me for A Word in Edgewise. We'll see you next time.